Good evening and welcome to another stream with Luke. Today we're in Dune Awakening and I'm actually really organised for once. I have everything other than where I really wanted to be when the actual stream started, but other than not being as far ahead as I'd love to have been, I'm actually fully ready and all the streams are up. We're not having any technical difficulties for once. We're actually looking pretty good, so we will get started. Just picking up a replicator. Actually, one of our blueprints, not replicator, it's already replicated. Yeah, just picking up something that I used before I took down the current version of the very heavily modified base. I'm just going to move this because we're going to be picking this up in the carrier and effectively taking out our first drop out into the deep desert, because today we need to rebuild the deep desert base and get things up and running, because as much as I would have loved to have got it done before, I've not had a chance. So we are hopefully going to be working a little bit better. Made some modifications to the chatbot and stuff, so hopefully it doesn't kick non-bots, although I'm hoping it kicks bots better on kick. Oh, quite funny that. Kick bots on kick. Hopefully it bans them as well. We'll soon see. I can already see that one has already posted, so hopefully it's doing its magic on that. Although I have got like keywords it looks out for. It's really hard trying to pick out these keywords that normal people wouldn't use. I don't want to ban everyone, just like bots would be nice. Oh, there it is. It's like, where the hell is it gone? It's directly below. Tell you what, everyone makes this look easier than I do to use this thing. I still need to get proficient at using the carrier, because if I'm going to be using it to do solo farming, I've got to be much better at picking it up fast than I am right now. Which at the moment I'm still fingers and thumbs. But to be fair, like I haven't really practiced, and I do kind of like need to, I think, mess around with like how I've got it set up. Because if I was to do this for the current weight setup, I just know that my harvester would be eaten pretty fast. I think getting out of the harvester would be okay, and getting to hopefully the carrier in time would be alright. And getting off the ground, I'm hoping that at least I'm good enough to like at least get out the vehicle and be in the carrier. I just got a feeling the crawler will get eaten. And at my current pace, eating all the time, because by the time I actually managed to get into the helicopter and get up and everything else, we're talking like more than 10 seconds normally for me to even get in a position where I'm starting to get ready to start picking up. And you need to be getting in it and everything within 10 seconds, I'd say max. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. See if we could do this as like a trial. How long does it take when I'm in it to get it out? So I hear a worm, I jump out, I quickly get it over. I don't do that because that would be messed in. Oh, we're failing already. We get up. Okay, say we did that part okay. off, we've just lost it. The worm's eating our thing. It hasn't, obviously, but this would be the scenario of what would be happening in real time. The worm's already gone away and ate our thing. As soon as I try and rush it too much, it'll never work. And the more pressure you're under as well, the more likely you are to make a mistake. Yeah, just I'm struggling to see how I'm going to get it to work, if I'm honest. At least under pressure. I think it's like solo farming is going to have to be just a case of trying to keep the aggro completely away so that you don't ever get a worm. Rather than react to one, which was my initial plan anyway, but I think I'm going to be under more pressure to make sure that that is what happens. Wait till they got the container though. Do you think if that was my container, I'd have everything out here now? At the moment, I don't. This contains all the stuff. Well, this actually contains a good amount of stuff that will build like the main components. So we're going to leave that there. And now we're going to go back and go and get our ornithopter that has all of the components we need to start the main build of the building. And I haven't got a booster yet for this. Just haven't got around to actually making one. But I should definitely make one. Well, I definitely will make one before we get to actually harvesting out in the deep desert properly with this and a crawler. But because I'm only using it at the moment as a ferry between here and Haga Basin, just not a real big need for it. Also, one thing I noticed as well, towards the middle part of last week, the titanium actually now has started showing back in the actual first square column of the deep desert now. So it's not what I've got a feeling probably what might have happened, and I haven't actually followed up to find out whether or not this is true, but I have a feeling that they may have just inadvertently done something and fixed whatever or changed back whatever is they adjusted. But yeah, while at the very start of last week, after the last reset, when they released the patch, it did appear that they had moved titanium off the wall. It is now back on the wall. Big relief, I guess, to everyone who relies on that. Personally, it didn't bother me too much. It obviously added a little bit more kind of a restraint, and obviously having to take this out to deep desert in order to get titanium so that I could still get it with the buggy, but didn't make a huge difference to me other than that. gave me an opportunity, I guess, to use this a little bit more than I had been doing, which is non-existent really, other than having a little bit of a practice go with it prior. Legs got in the way. That might be a bit far forward. The wings be hanging out. That's right. Okay, we're going to get the assault helicopter, which is only one level below. God, hanging on to something. I think this is full. Yeah, it is. Did have everything we needed in it. Well, most things you need in it. It may not be like 100% everything you need, but it'll have most of it. The one thing I had noticed actually since last week is last week I actually like obviously rebuilt the base and upgraded it, but I realised over the week that I had actually brought a lot of stuff out to Deep Desert. I'm hoping this week that I don't have to take out quite as much, because it's actually really painful bringing it back. I actually ended up having to do like 5 trips back to bring everything back, and that was also not even doing a battery run or anything like that. Not that I needed batteries this week, because I've got enough to last me probably a couple of months at the moment. But yeah, I had a lot of stuff that I brought out there last week, and I also tried to use up all the water and stuff like that. So I have used titanium, and I've got extra titanium made, which I realistically should add another hour to the timer, which I will add after today if we do end up using it, but I think we probably will, so just to get closer to the end, because I do really want to finish the challenge this week. So depending on how much time we spend on today's video depends on whether we do any of the stuff live or whether I use the titanium that I made from doing the upgrade. Hey Willen, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. How have you been? Oh yeah, definitely. If you've got a beginning of your base, this is the one down in the rift, is it? Those that aren't aware, Wayland's doing this project where he's a mad person and he's going to basically build a base where no one else wants to build a base. But, well, at least I would want to build a base. And probably I'd say 99.9% of people with the same brain wouldn't want to. But he wants to do the abnormal. So he's building a base in the rift at the moment, or he is planning to. By the sounds of it, he started. Oh yeah, don't post a link. Just I've just thought, if you try and post a link, my bots have been told to not allow links to be posted, and I haven't put you on an exception list yet, at least. Well, actually, you might be on an exception list, I'm not sure. Are you sending me this via Steam? Or I'm guessing you're sending it via Steam because I can hear things going off somewhere, which I'm not going to be able to see at the moment. If you are sending me a Steam message. It's on Steam. Okay. I'll check out Steam in a minute. Give me a moment. Let me put this down first. Well, that actually went in too easy, and that's because there's a massive gap there. Is that enough of a gap, though? Actually, that might be enough of a gap that it doesn't matter, because I might be able to. Because that's down enough. Might place that. If it lets me, which it did. Surprised it did, actually. This is just the start of it. Okay. Don't worry, I've got no high expectations, Waylon. I'm going to put immediate pressure on you to find out to have this perfect base set up. Do you mind me sharing this with the viewers? Or is this just for my eyes only? Okay. Let's all have a look at Waylon's lovely work together then. Let me just change something. Hopefully this works. Here we go. Obviously it's only so big, but I can actually blow it up on the stream a bit. I'll just change that around. I'll probably see it better on the stream than I can on the thing now. Alright, we start at the bottom. Okay, so our first picture up is from the base upwards. Is that inside your base, Wayland? Put chat back again so I can actually see chat. A bat cave. That's one way of calling it. It looks nice inside your base. Oh, and the base there as well. Sorry, I should have hide the other attacks above. Actually, I'll just make sure I don't get the stuff above it too much. Yeah, it looks dark. That's one thing I would say. It looks very dark. Where you are down there. So did you end up building it where you showed me originally, or where I said you had tons of space? It looks like you've got plenty of floor space where you've got, at least. And you've decorated it lovely. Got lounges everywhere. Where you went originally. Fair enough. It was quite, yeah, because when I went there, it was very deep and quite narrow in some parts. I can't recognise that from it, but yeah, I'd imagine if I looked directly up in that narrow area that I was in, that was probably what I would have seen. Oh, it looks good. It looks good though, mate. Honestly. Are you gonna? So is that just the start of it, and you're gonna build more to it, or? Looks like you've got like plenty of options that you'll be able to do with it, and even with the space you've got and you started it with so far, like there's plenty of options you'll have with regards to what you can do with it. But you've got at least a start off, which is sometimes like just getting something started off is the hardest part. So now you've got things started, you can just keep expanding it and changing things until you're happy with it. But it's a good start, mate. You've gone ahead and started it, like, and you're down there. That's the main thing. Down in that dungeon area. The guy's about to like die of thirst. I should put it into some boxes, I guess. Bastati. Let's get some ingots. swap up body for that? Is that maybe not then. That's 75. Swap that for that. If it's less. Oh, that's because that's maxed. Oh, don't. I can imagine, mate, if you... To be fair, they had quite a lot of issues that they were sorting out because of the patch. Which I had noticed actually myself, because I obviously noticed how many patches they had actually done last week. Which, yeah, was different, I guess. I don't think I've actually seen them patch as many times as they actually did in the end patch, but I'm glad they did, because they did seem to have a couple of issues which seemed to disappear very fast. So the longest one I've seen, yes, like in last week's patch, was the one where it was just like some metal nodes that were in the deep desert. But yeah, I can imagine it was frustrating if you were building a lot of stuff and it was resetting your server a lot, because I didn't experience any major issues like that. I had a couple of like slight things that I had and I experienced, but I didn't put it down to them messing around with it, because all the changes they were doing were during the day. I'm assuming you were doing all of this during the day, were you? So much stuff I don't even know what. I'm just gonna like put all the main stuff in here. Yeah, you were. Yeah, so it's always hard to like find a good time to bring out server patches and stuff like that. But if I was them, I would do it during the day as well. More because you do it where like there's less impact. And obviously during the day, then. Even though it's always gonna hurt someone. It's gonna hurt less people during those kind of like hours, I guess, than those later hours. Like now, if they were doing a server patch now, and this was last week, you know, that would be painful for obviously me and my stream right now, but. But generally, because there's a lot of people now logging on after work, etc, etc. So yeah, last week I would say generally everything went quite smooth with regard, considering it's such a big patch. I hadn't seen any major issues with regards to people losing stuff from bringing stuff in with the carrier. So generally speaking, I'd say the patch went out smoothly-ish. But it could have, obviously, could always go a little bit better. There could always be little improvements they could make to so that no one gets affected by it. But Right before a sandstorm. Oh my god. That's not good. I don't... Yeah. It's so hard though, isn't it? Like, when do you take a server down? That's not going to affect no one. I was actually... Like, in some ways, I was actually shocked that they did roll it out last week, because I don't think that many people were expecting it to happen last week. At least I wasn't. Only because there was quite a bit of mention that it was kind of going to be more like towards mid-November, which actually I guess was last week, but still. I always say one thing and I'll do another thing anyway, so it still felt a bit like closer than I was expecting, even though they did do it when it's probably smack bang in the middle. Hey Gabrielle, hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm assuming you did get out, Wayland, without dying. Even though you did have people, well, potentially around you, but... I know you're out in the, you're not even out in the deep desert, are you? You're out in like, I'm assuming you're in PvE, you're in like Hager Basin, which is pretty safe for other players at least. It's never good when you're a mid-fight NPC, but then if the server goes down, then it'll just stop it wherever it is. And even if it's other players as well, everyone's going to be in the same boat. Like, you should be relatively protected. When a server goes down, even like, think about it, even when a sandstorm hits, like, all the effects and everything requires the server to be online to register the damage. So you're actually relatively safe, I would say. Like, I wouldn't 100% say that, you know, that's definitely how it is, but generally speaking, it's when you die and the server carries on that you need to be more concerned and worried. Do you not have a torch or something that you can have down while you're down there? You know, when during any of the resets, when it did reset, did you lose any of your progress that you were making whilst you were building? Because that could be a frustrating thing when they when the server stops. Sometimes it'll let you carry on because there's kind of like a lag between before the game realizes that the server no longer exists. You get kicked out, so you kind of like lose progress from that. Yeah. So I'm assuming then you were building prior to the storm, because why else would you be I'd be surprised that you're actually building during the storm anyway, even if you're big and Hager Basin, if I'm honest. Like, it's at least obviously you're not going to lose it there, but I still probably wouldn't build right up to the reset day. Literally on top of the Coriolis storm. So you're just experiencing server crashes. So the server crashes weren't because they were trying to restart the server then? Sounds like it might have been having like, no, they were just bugged out. Never good to have a bugged out server in any game. In fact, it's like the most annoying thing. Well, it used to be the most annoying thing for an online game to have like a server bug out. Like if this server went down now and bugged out and I lost all of what I've just done, that would be hell of a frustrating. So I do get you. Although to be fair, if it happened to me, I probably wouldn't carry on trying to build, purely because my experience tells me don't try going and fighting against the server, because the server will frustratingly beat you, in the sense of like it will. If it's having a problem, the problem's not going to go away just because you want it to. I'd wait until like later when it's not going to carry on. So how long is it taking you to get all the resources so far for what you're currently doing, and how much more resources do you need to finish off what you want to do, at least for the initial parts? Because I'm guessing like you probably don't know exactly how you're going to finish it off or how big you're going to make it just yet, or do you? And you've got this big wild plan. You did say you want to do something really eye-catching. Not that what you haven't already done is eye-catching, because like who wants to build down there? But yeah, I'm assuming you want to go big and bold. Yeah. Do you actually have a buggy or anything, or are you just relying on just like a normal cutting array and stuff? If you don't have a buggy, I'd recommend getting a buggy. Yeah, you've got a buggy. Good, good. And what cutting array and that do you have on your buggy? Hey Amber, good to see you. Mark 4. Oh, that's reasonable, mate. That's good. Because you haven't come out to Deep Desert yet, have you? So you're still playing with, like... I don't want to say low-level stuff, but mid-level. You've still got a way to go before you get into, like, what I call the more serious part of the game. Like, you still need to get your ornithopter yet, if I remember rightly, because you haven't got an ornithopter yet. The game doesn't even start till you get an ornithopter. And I'm not the only person to say that either. It just generally doesn't start to... Like, you get an ornithopter and then you realise your whole world week opens up and you can do so much more, so much faster. To get that gap. Give up with that. This is where I start to find out whether I brought out the right stuff. Because I'll get to a point where we're about to build something. That's because I haven't brought out the right thing. I am expecting stuff to not be able to do something. I just don't know what yet. It looks like I took apart though the right things, because there are a couple of things that I did make some modifications to before I took the blueprint, and that was so that it's easier to place the blueprint. So the blueprint, if I'd kept the base exactly as it was when I finished building it last week, I'd have struggled to place it today. So I made some modifications so that it just makes it easier to place it, because some of these things can't go below the surface level, so it's easier just to remove the things that look like it would be awkward if I was to try and place it again. Also things that look a bit weird now actually, because this base is all a bit higher than it should really be, which you can tell from this thing here, because that should literally be in the ground, which it's not. So let me place it, and I went with it just because it generally looks like it could work. At the front is what I was most concerned with, because it is further off the ground than it should be, but I think there's enough of a gap this side for me to be able to put another piece of ramp in here. I'll soon find out when I try and place a ramp here, but and I can. So that's the only dilemma. It's just being able to use the ramp properly. I'm not really bothered about the rest of it being a bit off the ground further than I wanted. You can drop me an email, Amber, if you have any art stuff or whatever else like that you have any samples of, then just drop it to me. If you go to my website, there's links there where you can contact me on one of the other social medias. If you contact me through that, then I'll look at it off the stream. Oh, nice. That's good to hear though, Wayland. I'm glad to hear you're actually finally getting closer to having a ornithopter, because I do think it's important for everyone to not have to race towards getting an ornithopter, but I do think it's important that you have it as a plan as to when you think you're going to get one, because yeah, like I said, it's just a big thing that will change how you play the game once you get it, and you'll understand that when you get one. So I never like to spoil things, but it really does make a huge difference. Not enough materials. It might be because I don't have any granite that I put in the box, I don't think. Let's check and see whether or not I can get some from somewhere. These things, like, I shouldn't have even brought these out, but like I said, I'd done that many trips. By the time I got to like the final trips, it was just like that, chuck everything in as fast, like as much as I could into an ornithopter, into my backpack and everywhere, and I was just like trying to get it back to Hanger Basin. In the end, I'd got past the point of trying to pack everything neatly. Looks very bare bones at the moment, but it won't do soon. Yeah, cobalt paste, mate, is like, it's almost like the silicon blocks. You need them for almost anything you're making. But again, once you get an ornithopter, what feels like such a laborious pain to get hold of that stuff is a lot easier. Not to say that it doesn't make it any better, because it's still a pain in the ass, because you have to go out, you still have to go out your way to go and get it, but what is there that you don't have to do that for? Wondering why, but it's because I haven't put the corner in. Oh, my little mining spot. Yeah, I love my little mining spot for cobalt paste. It's nice and quiet there. There are other areas that you can get cobalt paste from. It's just that I always get mine from the particular place that you are aware of where I get mine from. Just because it's straightforward from my base to get to, and secondly, there's actually very few NPCs there, and generally for a cobalt paste run, it's actually pretty cool how much you can get from the nodes that are available. There are the other places you go to where you can get it from. The nodes can be a bit more varied, and there's generally a lot more NPCs that you have to deal with. So I just like the place I go to because there's hardly any NPCs. You get a good amount of nodes there. They're always consistently the same. So it's just generally, I know what I'm getting, which I can't say with the other ones. And plus the fact the other ones are more out the way. If I was to go to them, then I would have to actually put in some effort to go and get them. More so than I do when I go to that one. I keep trying to build the penta shields and I must be missing something. Yeah, the Servox. Now I might not have the Servox on me. I don't have the Servox on me. I'm not gonna have them on me, are we? No. Okay. We'll get power up, so at least the place is being half protected, mainly from the storms, more than anything else. We're not in PvP area anyway, so we're perfectly safe from any players or anything. Is it me or is it dark today? Dude, seems dark where I am. I know it's at night, but it feels dark than it normally does. It feels normally brighter. Maybe it's my screen. Get these things out. I should realistically take these back. Do you know what? I sold a ton of stuff as well the other day. I have tried to, at least. I've took loads of stuff to the market that I have like loads of stacks of these 50 of things. Like I have more than a few stacks of most of these items. So I've actually taken them all to the market and put them on there for pretty low in order to try and see if any players might want to buy them, although I very much doubt they will, but I've tried just to see if I can get them to sell them, because it's better to do that than to either despawn them, which is one option, or the other option would be to try and break them down into the smallest components that they go to, but that's normally things like grass or scrap, which I also have tons of. So yeah, grass I don't mind so much more of, because, well, I say grass, plant fibers. From time to time I can actually generally need plant fibers, but it's here and there more than anything. But I was gonna go back and I've just not realised I have the power unit on yet. Let's go and get something that's got power. Did I bring any power cells with me? I don't think I did. I might have to use the generators downstairs. I've got 3 batteries there. I'm not trying to power anything at the moment. All I need to do is just have some power going through a generator, because that will just mean it'll protect the building against a storm. It won't protect much in it, but it'll just protect the building from having this running. You and the bats. To be fair, I don't think I've seen any bats in this game. There's birds, not bats. Or maybe you can show me a picture of a bat. In Dune Awakening, that is not just generally. Oh, actually, you does have a bat. Wow, you are right. He does have a bat. Oh, how did I overlook that? Zahar does have a bat pet. That you actually. Oh, I'm not allowed to say that, am I? I'm not allowed to give you spoilers because you haven't followed the whole timeline yet. But you are completely right. There is actually a bat in the game. But generally speaking, other than his bat, there isn't any other bats in the game. Like, if you're in your bat cave down in the rift, unless his pet bat's there, you're not going to see any of the bats. And now I said that, I'm starting to wonder if I'm just like completely forgetting about something else. Pretty sure there isn't. I can't even remember what that part of the quest line is, the paranoid quest line. Is that part of the chapter 2? Because if it's not part of chapter 2, then you'll see more of his bat in chapter 2. Between chapter 1 and chapter 2. With the latest patch, and I haven't really had chance to even do any of the storyline, so I'm not even sure whether or not the latest patch has chapter 3 storyline in. But is there chapter 3 in the latest patch, or is that after post Christmas? I should know myself, but I just haven't had really time to really take any of that in. Have you worked out who she is yet? I've got to play really cryptic with Waylon for if anyone doesn't realise. And for anyone else who hasn't really gone that far yet in the Dune quest line, I do try to avoid giving away too many spoilers in the streaming. Obviously, I've done virtually every single part of it, apart from any of the very latest content, because I've just been busy doing the quest and doing all the other stuff, so I've not had a chance to catch back and see what they might have changed recently. Okay. So you know that... Okay, I won't spoil it for anyone else that doesn't know, but Waylon obviously realises now who she is. That's cool. So she does become a key part, and as you go through the chapter 2, you'll go more in depth with both her and where you leave off in chapter 1, because at the end of chapter 1 there's kind of like a cliffhanger, which if you had got to the end of chapter 1 before chapter 2 had come out, which you obviously hadn't, then it would have left you in a bit of a limbo. But chapter 2 kind of picks up from where chapter 1 left and concludes back with her. And then at the very end of that, there's another cliffhanger that happens, which is where I've got up to, and it involves her and her family, obviously. Because her family are the main thing. I'm speaking in riddles almost now. That's what we need. We don't need that many, but we need them. We'll need the advanced machinery, but probably I take all the things that I'm gonna need the most. Like, yes, I need all of it ready, but need more than others. Like that. That's gonna power the big generator that we've got. Probably can pick that in my hat, in my backpack. Don't need them. I'll just take out the general building. Pretty much put everything up now. I'd be shocked if I needed them. The silicon blocks, we always need silicon blocks. Cobalt paste, we always need cobalt paste. I think the rest of the stuff I might have to put in my backpack. Apart from I think that'll do. I've got the main thing I came out here for, which is the Starbucks. So that should allow us to finish the shell and be able to put the penner shield. I should pick up while I'm here as well. And I actually remember. Pick up one of these. I'll only be able to pick up, I think, this one. Actually, I might not have to pick up either of them. I can pick up this one. I was going to say I don't think I can pick up either of them because actually I couldn't remember whether or not I'd actually left one full or left both of them full, but I have moved everything out of this one, so I'll drop the bike and pick up that. It's easier to come back in the smaller one and then pick up the other quadricopter. My neighbour has fully moved on now, so I've managed to be able to expand my land claim area, and I'll now be able to expand my base in the way that I was hoping I could have done a long time ago. It just happened to be that the one player that decided not to disappear very fast was my neighbour. So they finally moved on, and I can now finally expand my base. Because I was like stuck between a rock and a hard place while they were continuously there. It was either that or move. And I was tempted to move, but I actually like where I've built, so I was hoping that they would just move out eventually, which finally they have vacated. Just as I'm thinking of moving my base anyway, but I can still have a go at trying to build what I initially half thought of and see whether or not it would have worked or not before I end up moving my base. The one thing I am going to make a change to is now that I don't have to bring my carry out here, I am tempted to put the pentashield back on the top rather than solid floor. It takes so long to build the new bases. Tell you what. While it will be easier and faster when they do bring the container, which you'll be able to then store everything in every week, that in itself will make things faster, but I still struggle to see how it's going to make it, like, you know, infinitely faster. It's going to make it less painful. What kind of object? Oh. The ornithopter wings. Having to get outside the building zones easier. Unless the slow comes, obviously, in the luck. But until then, it can stay outside until I've finished. So far it's taken me the best part of an hour to get to where we are now. I'm not far off doing it, but like, it's quite a bit of time. More time than I ideally want to have to do, really. Like, maybe Funcom one day might change their mind about resetting the deep desert each week. To quite the extent it is at the moment. Maybe once every 2 weeks. Rather than every week. Notice I'm not having to keep turning everything off for the power to stay on, because I've got the big generator going. 1000 watts it generates by itself, which is great. So you just turn on something else that just takes over. To be fair, like, that's pretty good. when I have got both of them up and running, the two big ones, then everything can be switched on, including all of the other advanced stuff. And you will have to keep switching on and off. But at the moment, we will have to obviously play around with it a little bit to keep the energy below a certain point, at least until they're all on, and all the downstairs generators actually have batteries in as well, because at the moment only one of them does. So it literally is just that one generator by itself actually that would generate most of the power then. So if I go and get some batteries quickly, because one thing I did do on Monday, because Monday's when I took it down, fairly late on Monday. Actually, it's probably Tuesday morning, because it was that late. I left all the batteries here just because it didn't make really sense trying to go up my way to take all the batteries back to Hangar Basin when I didn't really need batteries in Hangar Basin. I definitely didn't need batteries in Hangar Basin. Start taking, and then it does use fuel up when you're using a cutting around the buggy. So if you're ever wondering like why when you hit a cutting rate does it feel like the battery in your buggy seems to cut out or not last very long, because your actual cutting array is actually using your battery as much as your kind of like driving does. Actually, if you use like what I've got, like the tier 6 one, it uses it up even faster. I'm not sure if like that is bugged because it's not usually that bad. That one's still doing some weird UI effect that it shouldn't be doing. This one just doesn't seem to want to register there's freaking batteries there. I just give up. That'll do to get started. It won't fill us up for the full week, but it'll have to put enough batteries in all of them to keep it running for a couple of days, maybe 3. Or 14 days, according to that. So that's right. But it must be because it's the lowest power normally. Denominator. There is one way of checking. If I go to one of the generators, it should show at least 14 days. I'll tell you why it's actually probably more than what I'm expecting it to be. So that should last uptime 14 minutes. 40 minutes. 28. Oh, 5 days. There it is. Down the bottom. Okay. So that's 5 days uptime. So the sub-thief must be bugged out because it should show you whatever is the lowest amount. So I'm not sure why it says 14 days when it's not. It's 5 days. It should be 5 days. Maybe that's a bug I need to report to Funcom. Shouldn't do that. Should show 14 days power down. unless I suppose it's possible that so even if they go down, there's still be enough power to run everything. That's probably what's going on about, isn't it? If I turn this on, and turn this on, it'll force it to have to use the other generators, and now it should say 5 days. Maybe that's why. Yeah, no, that's why. Okay. That's what you get for having one power supply that by itself kicks out so much energy. Okay, so I've got a power for this, and the basic parts of the base have been built up. Where we got up to last week, so I built I've pretty much everything is in place to finish off where we are up to, and we are literally up to the stages where we can now put down all the small ones. So that's one of the small ones. It's just storage. All the sides going up. And the music goes off. Put the lights in as well. It's always something to carry on building. That's obviously just tier 1. That's another storage. I won't build that because that's already been built. So we'll just demolish that. We need to build this, which are both advanced. So this is the advanced weapons. This is the advanced survival. This one we can build now because that's just tier 1. This is top tier, but I'll turn them off in a second. This is just to make our water, which I'll actually turn on now, but turn off these first, just so that we can get some water going, because we'll need, whatever we do now, we're always going to need water. So last week I did put a lot of effort into making sure that I always had plenty of water in the base at all times, so that I could always constantly have things preparing ready. So we'll get some bodies in, which we do have. I think I might actually be carrying one with me, which I am. Just get 2 more. You get wax and the music on, it's gone off. Okay, so we've got water going. Each of these drop about 45,000 each, or exactly 45,000 each. So that'll fill up our water containers, which are both ready and primed for the water to go into, which is good. One of the upgrades I do need to do is to build the other one of those, but I'm going to do that off stream. Because that's part of the upgrades I'm doing, and that I was doing at the end of last week. So for this week, we're just going to concentrate on getting the final parts of the metal that we require to do this stuff, because we've pretty much now got everything we need on the timer. So I will start the timer and we'll start getting the metals that we need to do this. Now, as you can see at the moment, there's 305 metal there. Pretty much most of that is not viable for building these advanced things here. They're actually meant for this up here, which takes 215. And if we need to, I can donate 90 or so to this if we want to not use up the time, but realistically that's outside the timer, so it's not counted in the timer. So unless I add in the time, then we're effectively, it isn't being counted. So that's why I'm saying I can either add an hour in, which seems a bit harsh, but I've got no exact measure that I can put in it other than saying we can either do it all right now and mine all the metal, or if I needed to and we wanted to be a bit lazy, we could add a bit of time in and just say roughly around this is how much time that would have accounted for. That includes part of what we're now going to do, and that's do the run to go and get all the metal. And the second part of that is obviously then things like having to go and get bodies so that we can then get the death stills going, then the time required for the death stills, and etc, etc. An hour is actually not that much for 90. It's probably, if I'm honest, it's probably like way undershort of what you'd get for 90. So I think the easiest thing to do is just to keep it fair, is just to start the clock now, and we'll just mine all the metal from this point onwards, and that's the metal that we'll then use to build the advanced things. We've already got, I think, all of the spice mines we need from all the spice mining harvesting that we've been doing over the last, not last week but the week before and into that weekend and stuff. So we should pretty much have everything we need to now literally get on this last part of the run and just get the final parts of the metals that we need to do. And like I mentioned before, this stuff was this had not been on the wall directly after the reset last week when they did the patch update. However, I noticed from about Friday onwards these started to appear again. So when they were making whatever changes they were doing and fixing stuff, they'd obviously been heard about this and must have at some point put them back. But I had noticed up until even Thursday last week that they still weren't on the wall. But they are certainly here right this second, and I did notice them at the tail end of last week. So with no further ado, I'm going to get the timer started, or restarted should I say, or not like we restarted, but going again, ticking. Just need to get access to it. It's on a website. Like everything. There we go. Now ticking. And we are now back on mission. Finally. So because we are waiting on water, we'll just stay out for an hour because we've got no rush to come back. We won't be able to get anything on for an hour anyway, about 45 minutes at least, because that's how long the water will take to finish. So we can go off and do a nice big run, come back in about 45 minutes, just towards, like, I'd say within the next half an hour we'll come back just before the end of the stream, see how much we've got, and get some stuff down and cooking. And yeah, at that point I will stop the timer. But yeah, there are some caveats in all of this, to be fair, because obviously if you're burning this and you're doing a full recovery and you were trying to do it within a 24-hour window, which was what my initial aim was, but then realised that just wasn't going to be possible, but I wanted to see how close to it you could get. I still think, even with concessions built in and stuff, that you would, even if you were to time everything perfectly and do things so that you always had things cooking and repairing and doing all the other stuff, yeah, it's still going to, like, I was going to say, was hoping that cell, like I've got a large battery cell on me. I was hoping that would like fill it right up, and it has. But first, that didn't go up very far. Yeah. Anyway, going back to what I was mentioning about the recovery part. I think realistically speaking, you could easily do a recovery within a weekend if you were to burn it over the whole weekend. But you would also have to build into that, like, say, even 48 hours that you would have to, you know, have time for like downtime and having a little bit of sleep and stuff like that. You know, even the hardcorest gamer would be able to just say, okay, well, you could do this in, say, the 28 hours now, but there's some concession time built into that, in the sense of like that doesn't account for sometimes going away from the game and allowing the game to continue to do things while you're away from it. And that's the part that my 28-hour timer at the moment doesn't fully account for. If you're building a thing like that into it, then I'd say easily double the time, and that would probably give you the a more true reflection. And that obviously minus your sleep as well, so you'd have to add sleep into that as well if you wanted to do that. And then if you wanted to say it's 12-hour shifts, best case scenario is probably a week of pure gaming with 12 hours on, 12 hours off style gaming, which I wouldn't say is like hardcore, but it's certainly a committed gamer. I just feel like they've increased the nodes, because when I was doing this last week, when the titanium wasn't here, that while there was way more stradium than there normally is around here, there wasn't enough to like take away the fact that the titanium wasn't here anymore. So it felt like there was a lot less nodes around. It feels like there's a lot more nodes around this week, not just because the titanium's there, but just generally does feel like it's a lot more fuller and things around. Like there's tons of batteries, like literally batteries next to batteries and all sorts, where last week there's resources around, but more scarcity than there is certainly today. Maybe they might readjust that. Probably definitely got enough Australian mass, purely because like I already have quite a bit already pre-made, so I don't need a huge amount for what we need to get left, but we do need quite a bit of titanium, which we've got quite a bit already. Well, I've got less than I thought. I thought we had about 1,000 so far. Felt like we got a lot of nodes when we first hit out, but maybe we're not getting as many as I thought. I got 1,000 the other day just of titanium, just when I went out into the deep desert properly onto an island, and it was it almost felt like good old days where you had to go out to Titanium Island to go and get all your titanium, because unless you were like really patient and went around everywhere trying to get the odd node that you find here or there, you'll be out for a long time trying to find titanium nodes. And then by the time you spent all the time getting around there everywhere to try and find them, 2 hours later and you've hardly got that much to show. Where if you hit Titanium Island out of hours in your server, the guilds are control and get, which they were back then, you could get a nice run done and get quite a lot while the guilds aren't around. Over how much resources are around today. It could also be the fact that like players would have obviously been farming and mining last week, so it could be just that when I did 2 runs last week that there was just less nodes around because people were already around and trying to hunt the titanium as well, and were just basically farming everything that they could find, even though they couldn't find the titanium. Thought that was a titanium node in the far ground, but it's not. It's a strontium node. And I do play on an American server for those that don't watch regularly. And I, yes, live in Europe, so I play on a server that's out of sync on purpose. So that I get to choose when I engage in PvP rather than the other way around. It means I get to have PvP, but when I on my terms rather than other people's terms. Which it can still happen on other people's servers, but it just gives me a window where I can do stuff out of like the server's peak times and not have to be so concerned about some player sneaking up on me when I'm in the deep desert in the PvP areas and yeah, causing hell. They could go any direction, to be fair. They will all lead in similar... Well, they all will lead to pretty much the same places. Like, if you carry on up there, it'll go to where this leads to. It's just that when... This one... Where we came in kind of gives me normally a hint as to what's in this corner. And because I didn't see any top tier rocks on the top, I just thought maybe this little area didn't have any top tier rocks in, so I was just going to bypass this little corner and I was going to cut up that part. But as I seen the titanium node, why not? Let's go back, let's go get it. So I was going to come up that way, which would have led it to here. So we've only got 1 extra titanium, but every little bit counts when you're trying to get the titanium. So we've got 1,000 now. If we get 2,000, then that'll pretty much probably be enough for 80% of what we need. We probably still need another 20%. I think we'll need about... We need about 50 50 to 70,000 actually fully processed platinum iron ingots, and even with all of the highest refinery stuff, we still won't quite have enough with 2,000. I think we'll need about 2,600 ish to build the 5 or 6. I can't remember whether it's 6 or 5. I'm pretty sure it's 5, but it might be 6. Tier 6 fabricators that we want to finish off. Just there. But once we've got them built, that's it. That's literally mission complete and everything done. Which sounds like we're just literally yards away, but we've been at this stage for almost a week. Because I've just been kind of busy doing the upgrades last week. And the week before, I literally got us up to where we are now. Spent the time doing the upgrades last week because I just wanted to see whether or not the upgrades will help. And if it does help, then you guys get to see that maybe having the bottom tier stuff for like your energy and stuff like that isn't always the best idea, and maybe you should consider getting 1 or 2 of those top tier facilities for the like power generation, which will give you 1,000 watts rather than the 100 that you get from the bottom tier one. Or it's actually 75 actually. Might be 75. It's low anyway. Like you require normally like what I can do with like 1 of those, I'd normally have to do with about 10 of those generators below the floor. So it makes a significant difference, and it's more it becomes more and more of an issue as you build more and more facilities, because you will get to a point where you can't build everything and have all the generators to run it. And yes, you can turn things off, but that also becomes an issue as well, because you'll get to a point where you can't even have all those turned on properly and stuff like that, and then you still might run out of not having enough spaces available to build everything because you've got too many generators down. So you need to delete a generator, and then you get to another issue because that then prevents you from doing something else. So you become more and more restricted each time. So they will come to a point where you'll start to think maybe I should upgrade a bit, just to take a little bit of that pressure, I would say, but certainly fun back into it rather than having to worry about things. Feels like I've gone back into last week's server because the nodes are far more scarce around here than they were over there. Maybe we were just lucky. Head over to the far east wall and you'll have plenty of rocks. Further west you go, there's less. At least on the wall. Only actually been 15 minutes, so we are literally rocking through this. And I know I haven't gone through every nook and cranny, but I've gone past the main areas, so I should see at least the main things. I've never seen that doorway before. Sorry, I have to go and investigate. A lot of times I've been around here and I normally come the other way from here, but I've never noticed this. Hopefully this isn't the quest line area that I'm in, but it shouldn't be. Around here. Why not have any? Don't even have any med packs on me. Oh, that's awesome idea, James. To be fair, I wasn't planning on doing anything. I will come back here another time. I'm curious as to what's down here. That actually does look like quest line area, because you don't normally see this type of formation and stuff, and normally that type of layout and stuff that they've done there, it just seems like they've put a lot of, it seems more than normal effort into that little area. Curious as to what's down there. There could be nothing, and what I just seen was everything, but it looks like that could continue and be something decent down there to explore. There would be a rock on there, wouldn't there? Get across without falling off. I just feel a bit broke today. The nodes don't seem to, if you like even press on them for a bit and don't finish it, it seems to like stop registering. Very weird. Oh, there's a node. You stay up, stay up. Oh. Oh. I don't think I'm going to be able to get back up there now. Very easily anyway. I noticed the node just as he humbled down. That's pretty good. I'm not spending ages trying to get back up there. We'll just continue the trip. Left or right? Oh, it looks like a node down there, so I'll go left. This is literally the opposite way around that I normally go. I normally come from like a anti-clockwise way. This way I'm literally going clockwise around the way that I normally go the opposite way from. Which means I might notice things a bit differently, I guess, but it doesn't make a huge difference. can go up there, but there's like, if you get to the very like top of that, where there is sometimes a node at the top, it's literally off the edge of a cliff to the desert, deep desert. Like that's the edge of the wall. So unless there is anything at the very top, it's pointless going up there. I'm doing it. I'd do it if I'm desperate and I'm going for what I want, but other than that, it's a lot of effort for what might not be nothing up there. If you ever do Launchpad as well, then you never notice there is some Launchpad stuff there. It's one of your factions. They're dotted all over the deep desert, and obviously aggravation as well. I think generally around and about everywhere, but you can find those people pretty much in the weirdest of places sometimes. But when you see me flying across the deep desert and sometimes flying into the PvP area, a lot of that is because I'm flying over one of those areas. And when you fly over those areas off the wall, they tend to be PvP areas, but on the wall they will remain non-PvP areas. The only thing that's on the wall that will push you into PvP is the same thing that would push you into PvP if you were in Hagar Basin, and that's the downed ships, the big downed ships, the permanent ones, not the ones that just fall out the sky. We have got way less titanium than I was expecting to get, considering it's back on the wall again. And how much I got. Like, to be fair, I was a bit shocked last week when I went to an island and managed to get as much titanium as I did from just one island without having to hop onto a load of islands. Which is why I referred to it last week as Titanium Island is back. Because that's what it felt like. It felt like we'd actually found that they'd purposely done this all, and they'd concentrated the titanium back onto islands. So if you did go to islands, you would get, you know, more worthwhile amounts of titanium there. Just put, we've already got some stradium anyway, so we've got 165 stradium, but we've got a little bit more, quite a bit more, way more than what we probably need to titanium. But we've almost got 2,000 titanium, so that'll give us a good 80%, I would say. Just need to wait for this to finish, because until this finishes, we can't put any of it into production. Got 18 minutes. It looks way less, like, you can tell how close these are because these bodies rarely start sucking in, so you can see the silhouette a lot more kind of prominently as it gets more and more kind of drawn in from the flat shape that it starts off on. But that looks quite far advanced, more than the time suggests. But yeah, even all of the water we're going to get out of those 3 bodies, that's not very much in comparison to how much water we'll need to process the titanium that we need. We'll have enough to put in 100,000-ish. Like, 100,000 is about 125,000 water, which we'll be doing just over, but only just. So yeah, 3 bodies for 100,000. And then we need to get some more bodies as well, because yeah, I don't have a huge amount of bodies. Hopefully no storms came past, because I totally forgot the fact that I left my helicopter outside. Poor thing that also has been through a Coriolis wipe and had a load of durability already taken off it. Need that box. It's like right in the middle of the landing pad. I have like not fully built everything for this base. It's like there's certain things that I was in such a rush just to start getting going again and get for you guys not have to watch me rebuild the whole base, the desert base, and not do anything that was towards the mission for this week. So yeah, I thought I'd put it off until now, and now we can do a little bit more while we wait for the water to finish. I work out what I haven't built yet. To be fair, like, I haven't missed that much, but it will be the odd weird thing that I haven't finished. Like these lights. Dun, dun. That is less than I was expecting. You can see that glow in there. That's because there's like an underlying beam underneath this in the original build, which I didn't really have to build. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, is that what it is? Alright. Probably should remove that. I noticed that last week, and somehow I've managed to put a block within a block that it shouldn't allow you to do. But I noticed it last week and wondered what the hell was that weird kind of thing in the floor. But I can't work out what it was. Now I know it's one of those. And instead of using a sub thief, I've just carried on building the last thing I had in the build thing. Which is why you shouldn't do that, because then you end up with like random blocks in blocks or in build places you never really planned for it to be. It also does that, and to be fair, this has always been a thing. I didn't mean to press demolish. Hopefully that didn't damage anything too much. Hopefully, I'm glad the whole building did just fall down then, because I took away a key block. Trying to get rid of the kind of bugged floor, which when you build sometimes the floor, you get this kind of like hollow in that it kind of does fill in the block, but then kind of doesn't either. It kind of like just half fills it so that you have a block looks like it's filled in, but if you look back there, if you like the build tool there, it shows that you can build again. I'm not sure why it does that, and that's that laser UI thing from still when I was trying to hit the battery last time. It's still going off. That's a personal UI bug. If someone else was there, they wouldn't see that. It's just probably just for me, that particular buggy thing. Not enough materials. Not enough material. It looks like I don't have any more plaster. So some of those blocks I got back at my base that I thought, oh, I won't need them. I don't really need them, but if I want to do anything fancy or do any extras to this, I'm going to have to bring it. Or put some more into craft here, but then that uses water, so probably just bring the blocks back from Hanger Basin. I think I might just have enough stadium as well, actually, because while I did get more stadium than I thought I needed, I think maybe we actually got about the right amount, because it's 1 in 3 and we've got 163 already made. I think we'll need probably about 300 at least plus platinum ingots to build the rest of what we need to build for the tier 6 fabricators. Let's count how many fabricators we've got. I think we've actually maybe got one there, that's 2, then 3. Is there just 3? Or am I missing something? Oh yeah, that one. I haven't put that one down yet, have I? So that's the vehicle one. That's the weapons one. Then we've got the survival unit. So it'll be the weapons. Then there'll also be the fabric. So you've got advanced. So you've got garment, weapons, vehicle. So that's 4. So it's just 4 we need to do. But each one of them will take quite a lot. So 70, and I think they might all be the same amount. That's 70. 70. Okay, so 70 plus 70 is 70. So 2800. Well, actually, yeah, 2800. So that'll be. We should actually have enough metal to do the remaining 4. So we are closer than I actually even thought. The only thing that I totally completely forgot about was the fact that I hadn't placed down the blue. Well, I hadn't placed down like where I was going to put the vehicle thing, but the vehicle thing is basically going to go where the helicopter is now. I'll just have to move it before I can place it down. But yeah, we've got I'd say all the materials, probably, apart from water. That's the one thing that I always can guarantee we haven't got enough of, because this is only going to make 100,000 and we need like 3 times that. So whilst we wait for this, let's go and get some water. So you can never have enough water out here anyway, no matter what we're doing. Whether we're doing spice harvesting and then having to do the actual refinement for that, which is 75,000, or depending on whether you're doing tier 6 refinery, which that uses a lot if you're trying to make the plastatium ingots, or even if you're doing the tier 6 actual fabricating itself. It all wants water. Everything wants water, so you always have to have water. And the easiest way of having water in the deep desert, unless you've got the large wind traps and you don't need it fast, because that's the thing with the wind traps, they are great for water, large amounts of water, but you have to be patient and wait for it to passively drop it, because it takes like 12 hours for it to get through the cycle, for you to get the full amount of the water out of like what you effectively put into it to get water out. So you put filters in and you get water out, but it takes 12 hours for that filter to kind of transfer from the filter to the water, to transfer its passive time into what you're after. So if you want it fast, or at least faster, because obviously even the destills still have time, but much significantly reduced time, because rather than 12 hours it'll only take 45 minutes with the larger improved destills, or with the original ones it'll take an hour. So, and you get less, so it's definitely better to have the improved ones. Although if you were like me, even me until recently, and you know, I'm a long person into the end game for ages, and I've only just changed my destills from the originals to the improved ones, just because they use delirium, and a lot of it, even in the deep desert where you use half the resources, and it just uses a lot of delirium. So I hadn't done it because I found other things that I needed delirium for more than death stills, and death stills were kind of just a supplement to my water, and always generally have always been, until more recently where I've started to use death stills a lot more. And obviously since the wipe, I've not built the wind traps or rebuilt the wind traps, although we will rebuild the wind traps, because I still think they are the best source of water. If you put source of water in compared to everything else, it feels a better ratio. This is just a bit of a pain really, because you have to come back to Haga Basin to come and get some bodies, which isn't hard, but it's just a bit time consuming.
I see someone.
Where making some filters is far easier.
Who's there? Shield on. Reload. Sure.
Mine. I've got you covered. Come out.
everyone's firing at me and someone with this. I need to I need my shield to recharge because I need to push some of these bodies into bags. This is what I'm doing now. I'm not picking them up, all I'm doing is pushing them into a bag, because if you push them into a bag, it means they won't despawn. Or at least they won't despawn as fast, because if they're not in a bag, they can despawn within about a minute. Where if they're in a bag, you have up to about half an hour before they'll disappear. They can despawn in. These ones like to kill. The ones that are hardest to kill are literally just the rushers, as they're referred to as, the ones with the daggers and the swords, just because they keep trying to stun you, or they'll block you, or do anything other than being able to allow you to just easily take them down, because they'll also have a shield. So they're the ones you just need to kind of get out of the way the fastest. Sometimes you can just kite them or push them off a little bit and just allow you to stop, say, like the chain gun. I call them a Gatling gun personally, but whatever you want to call them, they're the guys that kind of like burn your shields down quite fast. Like even in an area like this, where this is very low area for the type of gear I've got on me, if you allow that person with a Gatling gun to keep firing at you, even with the Mark 5 or Mark 6 shield, it still will, obviously much slowly, burn through your shield, and once it does burn through your shield, then start burning through everything else. So it's kind of good in some ways just to try and get any of the NPCs out the way that just cause you like the most aggro or problems fastest. Just remember where you put where you drop the bodies, that's the only problem. So you're looking out for like the thing that just disappeared there. Should be around there somewhere. Like this one's empty. Well, it's empty, it's got no body in it, but it's got stuff in it. You're effectively looking around for like... Oh, they've all disappeared. There definitely was one here a minute ago. One here. Literally here. It was just, all it had in it was like the stuff that the NPC dropped. Normally when you actually do push it into one of the bags, it kind of splits it into the things that the NPC drops, and then it'll put another one down which will be the body. If you drop two people close to each other, you'll normally find that it puts all of the pieces from both the bodies in one box or one bag, and then puts the bodies in the other. So you can end up having like a bag with one or two or even sometimes three in it. It appears that I must have aggroed everything because there's no more NPCs around, and I'm sure there normally is one normally hiding up here by his lonesome, and until you go up there it doesn't normally trigger, so either they're not there or this area is bugged out, which is any of the above, because this feels really weird that that bag's disappeared. All the bags have disappeared around here, and we're short of bodies. Way short of bodies. Where's all the bags gone? Oh, that's well bugged out. I think I've bagged 3 bodies around here. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's a couple of bodies. You've seen there when before I picked that first one up. that's what it normally will do. I was going to say that the bags are disappearing, but rather weird that the other ones have disappeared. Because even what they were carrying has disappeared. It seems like for whatever reason it's dropping the bags and despawning them, or at least hiding them from the UI. I'll go with that for now. We'll get some more over this side.
Found you!
Behind you. They're not very clever. Surely you see me go behind up there. Being clever, are ya?
The enemy found!
They are using more, like, not quite Gatling gun, but which is, I'd be more worried about Gatling gun, but they are using faster kind of DPS guns than like just simple shots. Which, if you had like, if they were like more higher leveled NPCs, you definitely would have had to deal with that faster. But I'm relying on the fact that this is a very low area. So I'm more worried about the Gatling gun ones, because those, even at this level, can burn through the shield easier. I think that, like before, I literally should have pulled everything, so there shouldn't be anything left. It's not like there is. I think I've got all the bodies. It's not too bad. Just feel like I'm missing bodies somewhere, but I'm not sure if like despawning or I'm just missing them completely. Like, I wanted to fully pull off. There is a room I could go into, which I'm not going to because I'll end up pulling a ton of things out there that I don't really want to have to kill everything for. But there is a room in the area I'm going to go into in a minute where there are a load of NPCs in there that you could potentially just go in there, drag them all out, kill them all in your own helicopter. I'm just going to get the one that's here. I can go in and get everything.
I got you.
Just call me the body snatcher. We'll probably do around there because that's all I seem to ever do. They see me, then they don't see me. When I am leaving, it's with bodies. The water should have dropped by now anyway, because we've been plenty of time. Slightly over the stream, but we'll as soon as we get things kicked off of the metal, then I'll cut it there and we'll call that a day. Pretty much an hour further into the timer, which is nice. I'd say now, like, probably if we have got enough materials left, we now have probably maximum of another further hour to do on the next stream. So not much at all really. And then I've got a load of editing to do and storyline to narrate. First, this is the one thing that's like dictates everything else. And get this on. And it's powered on. Oh, dearie. What do I need to turn off? Something that's high powered. Like this, I guess. Because I don't want to turn the death stills off. The death stills are high powered, which is probably what would be the ideal thing to turn off, but I need them on to give me more water. So 106 on the go. Once we get 106 at that thing, technically I could turn around and say we've got 106 that could take it for another pile, but that's obviously not on the timer. So we'll I'll keep the timer running whilst I'm continuing to cycle this, but I would say by the time we probably get to next stream, I think we'll have everything ready to start building. So thanks very much for today's. You've got to see everything from putting the deep desert base up, quickly going out, doing a quick run, obviously doing water run as well whilst we were waiting for the previous water to drop. We got the last of the metal started up. Obviously that was now going to continue to keep cycling through. We should have that all finished by Thursday when we get back. Obviously tomorrow we do normally do a stream on a Wednesday as well, which is normally Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 stream tomorrow won't happen because I'm away tomorrow, so I won't be able to do that stream. But we will be back on Thursday. We will continue with the Dune Awakening, continue where we left off today. Hopefully I can get us back on the stream, literally just ready to start popping these things back down. Like I said, I will leave the counter running whilst I wait for this cycle stuff to finish, and then hopefully we can stop the clock finally and see where we got up to and how long roughly it's taking us. Like I said, there is some caveats to this because obviously some of the stuff we have kind of left run while we've been off and out of the game with the timer stopped and stuff like that. But there have been times as well where we have timed it nicely and we have had things run whilst we've been doing other things. So it's a bit of a mixture of everything, but it just gives people a good average roughly how long it takes to fully recovering, literally from zero back to having everything again in the deep desert. So thanks very much for today, and I will see you again on Thursday. Have a lovely evening and the rest of your week until then. Bye bye and good night.